he can carry the rock, you know. He's done it very well during his career there. He's got great vision, burst, excellent contact balance, strength. Like, he's not a tall back, but he's not a small back. Runs through arm tackles, can make guys miss, take a hit, stay on his feet, great balance, strong, you know, like guys, DBs closing on him, punch him, you know, with a stiff arm and just keep going. But just that, you know, competes, you know, and also offers something in the passing game as well. And when you watch him block, it's impressive. Like, he'll throw it up in there against a blitzing linebacker.
Kimani Vidal is one player that we haven't really heard much about so far, but I think could possibly have a huge impact on the Chargers offense this season. And there's a couple reasons for that. First of all is because I think, you know, obviously he's a very good running back, and I think his game is going to translate to the NFL level very fluidly. And also the way that I kind of see this running back room playing out over the course of the season. And also, let me just say really quickly, if you are a fantasy football fan, Kimani Vidal is one guy that you could buy low in right now, and you could really prosper. Let me explain what I'm talking about here. So, Kimani Vidal, let's start from the beginning. He is a 3-star prospect coming out of Marietta High School in Georgia. He played running back throughout his entire high school career, stops playing on the defensive side his sophomore season, where he would play linebacker. His high school, they did not win a state championship since 1967, but his senior season, he led the team to a 17-9 win in the state championship. He had 2 touchdowns in that game and won the MVP award. And I know this is only high school football, but this is something that I want you guys to keep in mind, because you will notice that this is a trend that he shows up in those big time games and in those big time moments. So just remember that. Now we go into college. He committed to Troy over some other big time schools, like he was offered by LSU and also South Carolina, but he wanted to be 100% focused on football, not go into any of these big time schools with big time distractions. And he also wanted to be closer to home. As soon as Kimani Vidal stepped on the field at Troy, he was very clearly the best player on that offense. He got better every single season that he was in college. And over time, he took on more of a workload, but never dipped in production or in efficiency. In his final year at Troy, he had 1,661 yards on 5.6 yards per carry, bro. And if you go through his tape, you will notice that a lot of those big time runs, not all of them, but you know, a lot of those big time runs, they came later on in the games. And from 2022 onwards, one thing that I noticed about Kimani Vidal is that he had this effect on defenses where if he was fed the ball like 20 times or more, he would wear out the defense. And the 2 games that stuck out to me are in 2022, Arkansas State and Louisiana Monroe. In both of those games, he had a bunch of carries, as you can see the stats right here, but his yards per carry was still really high, and he had touchdowns and big runs late in those games that eventually just sealed the deal, and it allowed Troy to win the game. Now, the reason that he is able to wear these defenses down late in games, even though he's not a big running back, I mean, he's only 5'8", short king, is because of how absurdly physical he is and the leverage that he plays at. He is such a low runner and constantly churns his leg on every run. And even though he's not big like this, he is big like this. We're talking about a dude that has girth, okay? He just refuses to go down when he is running between the tackles. And we all know the crazy stats that back up his game by now, but you know, really quickly, he had more than 1,000 yards after contact, 94 missed tackles, which means that not only will he run through you for a full 1,000 yards after being hit, but he will not even allow you to hit him because of his elusiveness and his ability to make guys miss at an elite level as well. He was the 2nd highest graded running back by PFF and was graded elite the past 2 years, which, like I said, the past 2 years at Troy is when they really started to allow him to wear down those defenses late in the games and force feed him the ball, again, without any loss of efficiency. Even actually was better in efficiency. Like when we go back and look at his best games in terms of obviously both total yards, but average yards per attempt too, you'll notice the games that he's getting more than 20 attempts, he's actually more efficient and averages more yards per carry than when he isn't given the ball a ton and when he's not getting fed in those games. Like this just kind of backs up what I'm saying here, where as the game goes on and you stay true to the game plan of continuing to feed him the ball, not only is he due to get a breakout run, because like he had 47 explosive runs last year, which is a run of 10 or more yards, but he also has this effect, like his running style has this effect on defenses where the defense is due to allow a big running play, and we just saw it often. Like it was a trend these past 2 seasons at Troy, and the best part of all of this is that even with that huge uptick that he had in usage rate, he stayed durable, and he actually had the effect of making the defense break rather than having, you know, his own body break down. Basically, like what I'm saying is when you would feed the ball to Kimani Vidal a lot in a game, it wouldn't put stress on him. It would put stress on the defense. And doesn't that sound kind of like what Jim Harbaugh wants to do? In the Sun Belt Championship game, Troy gave him the ball 26 times, which was the 4th most attempts that he had in 2023. And he averaged 9 yards per carry with 5 touchdowns. So he showed up in the biggest game of the season with amazing efficiency and total production, obviously, because he got the ball 26 freaking times. But with all that being said, Kimani Vidal, he shows up during the biggest moments in the game and also in the biggest games during the season, going all the way back to high school. That's why I went back to high school in the beginning of this video. His running style between the tackles, it just has shades of guys like Ray Rice, Maurice Jones-Drew, and then when he is out in space, it's almost like Homie becomes a totally different running back because he just is so shifty out in space. Kimani is also a true 3-down running back because of his ability in the backfield to block and also his ability to catch outside of the backfield. So you really never have to take him off the field if you don't want to, because he can truly do it all, just like Joe Hortiz said in the beginning of this video. And now this goes directly to my next point, which is where he fits in this Chargers running back room. You guys know I have concerns about this, but Gus Edwards, he is already struggling with some sort of injury, and I know it's not really serious, obviously, and Jim Harbaugh, he even said, like, he's going to be back by training camp, he'll be fine, but it's certainly not a good thing. You know, I'd rather have him not be injured. Like, Gus Edwards, he has had injuries in his career. He played a full 17 games this past season, but he is a 29-year-old running back. He does have a bit of an injury history, so we just have to be honest with ourselves and wonder if he can hold up during the course of this entire season. He might, but we should be prepared if he doesn't. And we got other guys in this backfield. So we got guys like J.K. Dobbins, who is another running back with even more health concerns. And I really don't expect him to have a fully healthy season. I think that's too optimistic for me. Maybe get a good 5 to 10 games from him. That would be great. But again, not someone that we should really be reliant on because of those injuries. And those are the 2 running backs that are like the only guys ahead of Kimani Vidal on the running back depth chart right now. And I think there's a real scenario where both of those guys get injured and it forces Kimani Vidal to get the bulk of the carries, because the other running backs that we have right now, Isaiah Spiller, he's not really done much. I know a lot of guys like Isaiah Spiller, but Elijah Dotson, he flashed in the preseason last year. At Jaret Patterson, he had some good moments in OTAs last month, but I wouldn't take snaps away from Kimani Vidal from what I've seen from him. I wouldn't take snaps away from him for any one of those 3 guys outside of like just giving Kimani some rest, you know, would you? So we could be in a position where the Chargers are forced to use Kimani Vidal the way that Troy used him since 2022, which was the lead running back that wore down those defenses late in games and give him around like 20 carries a game with another running back that can get like 5 to 10 carries per game. If that were the case, I think Kimani Vidal, he would burst onto the scene and instantly have like a Keaton Mitchell or a Isaiah Pacheco effect on this offense. And I don't think that's crazy to say at all. Like, all the signs are here for him to be a great running back. And in this offense with Greg Roman and Jim Harbaugh, like, did I not just describe exactly what they want in a running back in this video when I was talking about Kimani Vidal? I mean, I was a big fan of Frank Gore Jr. coming out of college. Like, I even made an entire video about him, but I was disappointed the Chargers didn't take him. And, you know, Kimani Vidal, he has some shades of Frank Gore in terms of like the ability to run between the tackles and fight for yardage. He's kind of like a feisty running back that doesn't have a ton of size, and he'll surprise you the way that he can churn his legs for some of those yards. Kimani Vidal is a running back that I like a lot, but this room in total that the Chargers have, it's a position that I'm kind of feeling a lot less confident in than I am in other positions, like specifically the edge position. I feel really, really good about the Chargers' edge position.